to the channel. Today's video is going to be something a little bit different than what you are used to seeing. This is not the kind of channel that I wanted to be. I didn't want to be a commentary channel. I didn't want to be, I just wanted to be a vlogger who talks about, my mental health conditions and tries to inspire other artists, who might be scared if they, have to be self-taught or whatever. And so, the fact that I'm even, publishing this video at all, to say something about how important it is that this subject get addressed, because after the last couple of days, it's ridiculous. And this has been going on for the last 5 years. 5 years this has been going on, and it needs to be talked about. So today's video, I'm going to talk about the nonsense, the absolute utter bullshit that we all know as the very, very public breakup of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I am just astonished. Honestly, I shouldn't be, but every time I feel like I've got my brain wrapped around how bad society is, something happens to push my faith even further down. I can't even believe that this needs to be said, but you cannot try to convince people that you are not abusive if you are allowing and co-signing and staying silent about the kinds of abuse that your fans have engaged in. That is the entire reason why I refuse to talk about Amber Heard. Okay? At the end of this video, I will talk about, a little bit about Amber and what I think her responsibility in this is, but for right now, I'm talking about a grown-ass man who, who has a bunch of people, there have been, just to name a few of the abusive behaviors that people have been engaging in, there have been death threats, there have been harassment online. I can't express my opinion anywhere without being called an abuse apologist, without saying, without being told I don't support domestic violence victims. And, it's extremely triggering for somebody who's been through the kinds of things that I've been through. And, and these people don't care. They don't care. They're just, they behave like a cult. And I'm going to show you this screenshot of, here we go. So, it was recently announced that Marilyn Manson's part in The Stand was going to be cut, which probably, use your brain, folks, okay? The Stand is probably Stephen King's most voluminous work. For Christ's sake, it took me over a year to read the book. And we, so it's like, to sit there and freaking, act like it's anything other than they just probably didn't have the time to keep the character in, but if you look at the screenshot, clearly it is a Hollywood conspiracy theory started by Johnny Depp fans that anytime anybody related to Amber Heard gets cut or anything, it's got to be her fault, right? So this guy drops the comment, it's because Amber Heard is in the series and Manson is good friends with Johnny Depp. She played someone to get him out of the movie. Okay. completely, like, aside from, even if she was absolutely an abuser and Johnny Depp was absolutely in the right, does anybody realize how absolutely insane it sounds to accuse Amber Heard of getting someone else fired because she doesn't like their best friend? Like, why would she do that, first of all? She doesn't care that much. And second of all, she's not that freaking powerful. Like, Johnny Depp's fans keep going on about how she was a nobody and she didn't, and she'd be nothing if it weren't for, her association with him. Nobody even know who she was, and she got Aquaman because people knew who she was because of him. And I'm just like, okay, well, is it that she got her fame because of him, or is she, somehow single-handedly powerful enough in Hollywood to get all of Johnny Depp's friends fired? Like, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, you don't have to agree with me. I'm sorry, I fidget with paintbrushes when I'm anxious, and this subject is very anxiety inducing. It hits very close to home because I've been in relationships before, like the relationship that Amber had with Johnny, and I've been put through a lot of the same things, as far as people doubting your story and, treating you a certain way because you have a mental illness, like, that affects your credibility at all. So this is very emotional for me. So that is why I'm fidgeting with the paintbrush. But to get back to the point, you don't have to agree with me. Like, we can agree, we can disagree about who's to blame here, without people, starting ridiculous ass freaking conspiracy theories like that. Like, this poor woman just wants to be left the fuck alone, okay? You guys have told her over and over again, get help, get help. Shut the frick up then and let her get help. Because constantly keeping her name in the public, constantly dragging her, being abusive on Twitter, and now it's filtered over into YouTube. I have to say that the reason why comments are turned off on this video is because I just don't want to deal with the kind of crap that I had to deal with in the comments the last time this was brought up in the comments of a YouTube video. It happened, and that's part of why I decided that I had to say something, because this is freaking nonsense. Like, I get why Matt Pat hasn't responded to me. I had to tweet at him. I get why he hasn't responded to me. It might take him a while to notice or to get to it. I don't blame him. This isn't about him. I was so excited. I love film theory because it kind of gives me a chance to experience movies again, because, as I've gotten older and, my fibromyalgia is bad enough now that the misophonia that I experience trying to see a movie in a movie theater setting is just way too sensory stimulating and overwhelming now. So I had to stop. But film theory gave me a way to enjoy movies again without the sensory meltdown every freaking time I come home from the theater. So when I clicked on the Aquaman film theory, like, I don't even know what I was thinking. Like, I know that Amber Heard was in that movie. I'm not stupid. Like, I should have freaking known that was going to happen, that entire comment section was going to be nothing about the theory and all about unrelated bullshit about Mira and her ex-husband. And I was not disappointed in that respect, because there was literally no comments about the theory. And I feel bad for Matt Pat, because I know he avoided saying anything on purpose to avoid that kind of crap, and he got that kind of crap anyway. And, like I said, I 100% don't blame him, because, he would have been asking for it if he'd said anything about it, but he purposefully didn't. And, it's just a testament to how sick and stupid these people are that they can't just shut the frick up. Like, I will talk a little bit later precisely what I think Amber Heard's responsibility in this situation is, because, my position is that she does have responsibility that she did not follow through on. But that is to say, I'm sorry, I'm having a lot of trouble keeping my thoughts together because I had to take some medicine in order to calm down. Anxiety medication. There you go. Johnny Depp stands. You and your harassment and your bullshit and your inability to think rationally or logically about your great savior drove me to have to take anxiety medication to even be able to freaking talk about it on my channel. Like, I really just want these assholes to know, like, or I want to know, like, do you feel proud of yourself? Like, do you feel good about yourself knowing that you're enabling this kind of abusive behavior? Like, I don't understand how you can sit there and be like, oh, we're defending a domestic violence victim. Yeah, by harassing people, by threatening to dox people, by sending people rape and death threats, by telling people they deserve to die because they have a different opinion than you. Like, these are literally two celebrities who don't give a shit about any of us. They don't. I have not ever seen one person talk about how they thought Johnny Depp was somebody who changed the world for better. Like, we don't know. We don't talk about the charities he donates to. He's not some sort of LGBT champion. He is nothing. And I don't understand what he's done for anybody aside from act in a few stupid, idiotic movies that gets him this kind of support, like this kind of blind cult-like support. You see the same shit coming from Trump supporters. It's wild. It's absolutely wild to see the kind of apologism that's out there. And something that happened yesterday, it occurred to me because it's a lot of really young people. I mean, practically children that are really the worst about all of this bad behavior. But yeah, they're young and they don't have relationship experience. That's another reason why I wanted to, try to say something in a forum where, I might be able to get your attention, long enough to, I don't even care if you hate watch this video. If you fucking just, if you're listening to me, I don't care as long as you're listening, because, somewhere, someone out there, it'll sink in. That, the first thing is, so you're going through a divorce with somebody and it's a volatile situation. Okay, the judge only can see what he sees, like, through, at the time of the trial. And, one thing, during my divorce that my lawyers told me was, if you are on your best behavior from the day that you file to the day that the divorce is granted, there's no reason to think that it won't come out in your favor. And, and I'm sure that if Amber has, a little dealing with salt, that they told her the same thing. And, and if you think about it, she's been really low key since the whole libel trial began. And, you don't see her fans saying anything. You don't see, her really saying anything or drawing any sort of attention to it. I mean, she's been doing press for The Stand. She's been doing, additional press for the, talking about Aquaman. Like, she's not the one is misbehaving right now. Like, let me tell you, right now, I will say, because I know inevitably that this video is going to get out and it's going to hit somewhere, and, you know, people are gonna come to me and they're gonna have something to say because comments are off. But I'll say right now, if we can get an official statement from Johnny Depp disavowing himself of the fans of his that have engaged in the abusive behaviors that he claims that he is above, then I will do another video talking specifically about why Amber needs to be paying some consequences for what's happening too. Okay, I can't get it out of my head, so I have to address it now. The allegations about, you know, Amber, you know, admitting that she hit Johnny. I read today in an article while I was looking some stuff up for this video that that came from leaked tapes of a therapy session. I didn't look any deeper to see who leaked them or why there was a tape of a therapy session, but it's illegal to leak that stuff. So that evidence would have been inadmissible at trial. You assholes want to blame Amber. Blame the freaking legal system. Why didn't the judge take the evidence? Because your evidence was obtained illegally, you dumb shits. Like, how does that not register? If that's true and that tape really was leaked from a therapy session, then it's inadmissible in court, and whoever leaked it needs to be in jail. And then you add in the fact that they're now blaming Amber for Marilyn Manson losing a job. Like, I wanted to go in and take screenshots of this entire conversation about Manson's ex-girlfriend, Evan Rachel Wood, but yeah, due to the nature of, you know, the reason why Evan Rachel Wood never named her abuser, I didn't want to, you know, really go into that or talk about it because, you know, her privacy is important, because the reason why she never named her abuser was because she was afraid. So I'm going to respect that, and I'm not really going to go into that. But it doesn't surprise me that the same kinds of people who were saying that Depp never abused Amber are the same people who are saying, oh, Manson never abused Evan Rachel Wood. Okay. Please, somebody explain to me. I will leave my social media links in the description box, despite having the comments turned off. I just don't want to have that nonsense here on YouTube. So you can find me on Twitter, you can scream at me. Find me on Instagram, you can scream at me, that's fine. But, yeah, please explain. Like, I kind of get how people are, you know, like, Johnny Depp, you know, oh, he's so, you know, he's nice, nobody ever has anything, like, I get that, he has a kid, you know, whatever, he's got a really sweet ex-wife, Vanessa, what's her face, like, I get, he has a good face. Marilyn fucking Manson, like, trying to convince me that he doesn't already have, like, this garbage persona. Oh, please, like, I don't understand how people can be so delusional. Like, I always thought that Marilyn Manson was a terrifying human being, like, always. It never, there's not a single thing that I've read. That there was a book that I read about him too, like a biography or something, that, yeah, no, he's fucking crazy, and he's still addicted to drugs and an alcoholic and all that shit. Like, it just, but the point is, I mean, there's a pattern there of, you know, these kinds of cults of personality that refuse to see reality. And that's one thing that I wanted to mention was, you know, like I said, what the frick has Johnny Depp ever done? What's his philanthropy? What does he do to enrich the world that he, you know, so selfishly sucks shit away from? And, you know, aside from, like, I get that it's hard, you know, once you're attached to these movies to give it up. And I don't know if it's because I just don't have the same issues with attachment that people do, but for God's sake, like, it's not like I used to really admire Johnny Depp, and I can tell you, like, dozens of movies of his used to make it onto my favorite movies list. And, you know, I mean, I really, you know, anybody who's known me for any amount of time knows that my favorite video game is American McGee's Madness Returns, Alice in Wonderland. I'm super, super huge into Alice in Wonderland. And, you know, all this crap started right when the second Alice in Wonderland was coming out. And, you know, I literally freaking cried. I cried, okay, over the fact that my principles now conflicted with continuing to idolize somebody like Johnny Depp. It was not easy for me. And it's not easy for me to sit here and say these things about Depp when I have feelings about Amber too. Like, you don't get points, you don't get cookies just because you're mentally ill if you're not actively seeking therapy to fix what is wrong with you. The caveat comes in when Johnny Depp doesn't support his spouse in getting the support she needs. He just decides to freaking antagonize her further. You know, I've read reports of him, you know, screaming at her because, you know, she'd get drunk and make fun of his tattoo of Winona Ryder. Like, that's such a sensitive bullshit thing. Like, what the frick? Like, and you want to know what's funny? Hey, here's something really ironic. I'll have to see what I can find to corroborate this, but trust me, when this frickin' happened, okay? Like, keep losing my train of thought because I'm so damn, like, because I know the kind of abuse I'm gonna get for daring to put this on my channel. Um, uh, okay, yes, that's where I was going. Everyone's saying, well, everyone is saying that, you know, Johnny Depp is so nice and he's wrongfully, you know, being accused of this, and, you know, we're expected to, you know, just take that as gospel, right? And me and a friend of mine was sort of helping me look up some stuff. we discovered a little bit of information that kind of gets left out when people mention Amber's domestic disputes with her ex-partner, who happens to be a woman. That her ex-partner has said multiple times that she believes that Amber was wrongfully prosecuted for what happened between the two of them, and that her ex-partner is, referring to Amber, said that she is, she needs help. She doesn't need to be in jail. And I just, people will, they don't see the irony in saying all these people say this stuff about Johnny. Well, look at that. Everybody says, oh, well, Amber's been a domestic abuser before. Look at that. The person she supposedly abused came out after it all and said that she believed that Amber was wrongfully prosecuted and that we should be treating her with gentleness and compassion instead of like all this abusive damn garbage that y'all are throwing at her now. Like, the fact that she can handle this with grace and not, break down about it, that this stuff like this would break me. I went through something similar, and it wasn't even like, it didn't even play out in the public, like, and it's still like, I know what she's going through, and I know that if it keeps if it keeps on like this, she's never gonna get better. Like, y'all say, mental health is no excuse. Well, then let her get better. Leave her the fuck alone. Just stop. Because you can't claim a moral high ground when you're letting your fans, or when you're co-signing your fans, or when you're silent on your fans, sending death threats and, behaving abusively in online forums. Like, what I said about, finding this stuff in the film theory comment section, like, that was just beyond, like, not film theory. Not film theory. You assholes are not gonna ruin film theory for me. Like, that just is not okay. And so, it's one of those things where it's like, I get that it's like, that it's hard to let it go when you feel defensive about something. And this is a subject that gets a lot of people defensive these days, is the idea that men can't be abused. And and that's another reason why I kind of wanted to say something, because I am not saying that Johnny wasn't abused. Okay, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that the vitriol, the hate, demanding people's careers, threatening people, the behaviors, ignoring the restraining order, constantly keeping this in the press is something that Johnny's doing. It's not something that Amber's doing. And that's something that his fans are doing, not Amber's fans. Like, I would never respond to anybody sending me a death threat with another death threat. That's just ridiculous. I would never respond to harassment online with further harassment. Like, the only time I've ever sent an unsolicited message to somebody was when I couldn't post a picture comment, and I really just had to let this girl know, girl, this is what you're defending. Like, in trying to understand why people are so attached to Depp. His face was on the cover of an article about top celebrities with the most revolting teeth, okay? Talking about teeth and bad teeth is classist, but if you have all the fucking money in the world and you're still not spending it to make sure that you don't have fucking doo-doo mouth, then, like, that's so gross. Like, people have talked about being disgusted by having to kiss him in movies. They've talked about not being able to stand next to him because he's so rank and doesn't shower. Like, how is that defense worthy is, I guess, my point. Like, or how is that enough to, have developed these kinds of, attachments that lead to these kinds of like crazy ass behaviors? I don't get it. Um, but so yeah, I'm not saying that Johnny's not an abuse victim. I'm just saying that y'all need to back the fuck up with the hate about, towards Amber, because people who behave certain ways because they are mentally ill are not serviced by being treated like they're, freaking the devil, or like they did it on purpose. Give her a chance to fucking heal and be better. Constantly reminding somebody, oh, you're a devil, you're an awful person, you're a terrible person, you do this on purpose, you're abusive, everybody should avoid you. Like, that's not gonna help somebody who needs to get into recovery, from a mental health crisis, or from, a mental health condition. And I suspect that Amber probably has one of the same disorders that I have. I'm not going to mention it because I'm not going to deal with the stigma of everybody knowing that I've been diagnosed with that disorder. But that being said, people with this disorder need a partner who is not going to fan the flames and fuel the fire. By all accounts, Johnny Depp is still a drug addict. He is still an alcoholic. He's not clean. And I believe Amber, even if she was abusing him, flat out, I'd still believe her if she said that he was still using drugs and alcohol. His daughter is old enough now that, there's just, using, oh, he has a kid as a reason why he can't be doing drugs. Like, no. And not to mention, he looks too much like a shriveled up old liver to, to convince me that he's not. So I believe Amber when she says that he's still very much addicted to drugs and alcohol. And, and that kind of thing is like, is one of the stigmas of mental illness that we need to stamp it out right the frick now. Like, just stop and think for a second. People don't develop certain mental health conditions without serious amounts of abuse. Okay? Serious amounts of abuse have occurred to get somebody to the point where they develop a full-blown version of this disorder. And suggesting that behaviors that we've developed as a coping mechanism for dealing with very traumatic levels of abuse, suggesting that we are somehow monsters. It's just, yeah, it's convenient to throw us away. It's convenient to throw us in jail and to pretend like that makes it better. But putting Amber in jail doesn't help her get help for her mental health, which is really what she needs right now. And it also doesn't help Johnny address, what I think everybody who, is against him at this point wants him to address, which is that, at some point, bro, you can't blame all your problems on somebody else. My lawyer in my, with my divorce told me that as long as I took the high road, that I would look okay, right? I think I said that already. And, Johnny's not taking the high road. He's not. And his fans aren't. And they're making him look bad. And honestly, if he wants to win his appeal, and if he wants to get his jobs back, I would highly suggest not only taking equal responsibility for, the failures in his relationships, but also, recognizing the behaviors he's engaged in that make him not fun to work with, that, instead of blaming it all on Amber, just say, hey, I was in a bad place, and I really, but this is not indicative of how I want to run my life or my fans. And, I always want to put forward that I am following the law, like, how can you be a freaking crazy ass drug addict and have the reputation of trashing hotel rooms and stinking like garbage, and then, be that, stupid about why you lost your job? Like, come on, bro, come on. So, there's, I just noticed that this video is getting long and I keep losing my train of thought, and like, no harm comes from admitting, even though you're right, that you handle the situation poorly. And, so that's why I keep harping on, an apology, an admission of equal responsibility would go a long way to restoring people's faith. That's what needs to happen if you want your job back. That's just the long and short of it. Like, there was no freaking libel involved, bro. You wanted free reign to beat on Amber because she was sick and she was a convenient target. That's the long and short of it. So whatever Amber's responsibility was about making sure that she got treatment for her mental health conditions, it was Johnny's responsibility to recognize that he had a sick wife and to not do anything that would antagonize her. And he spent their entire marriage antagonizing her, according to all of these, accounts that I've read. And, I guess that's what I want the takeaway to be, is, that I want the next year to be the year of responsibility, where, we start to understand that this black and white idea of you're wrong, you're right, and there's no in between, and there's no gray area. Like, there's no room for both people to be abusive to each other, and that's another thing I wanted to mention, was the difference between the dynamics. I mean, Amber is abusive because she's mentally ill and needs help and isn't getting the help she needs. That's bad. She needs to fix that by getting the help she needs. Johnny is abusive because he's a freaking addict. He's an alcoholic. He's selfish. That dynamic is different. Like, he's not sick. He's not dealing with PTSD or trauma or anything like that. Like, it's just holding Amber responsible for her behavior does not include tossing her ass in jail just because, you can't understand something about somebody who is mentally ill. Like, but approaching the 40-minute mark, and I have to edit this video myself, so I'm gonna have to, and I'm starting to get a little, like, I can't really talk about it anymore, and I actually started crying in one of the attempts I made to record this, earlier this afternoon, I don't know, but yeah, I cried because, this needs to stop. It needs to be disavowed, because it's not okay. Like, you don't have to agree with my opinion. Again, I will say it until I'm blue in the face, and I'm going to say it to close out this video. You don't have to agree that Johnny shares equal blame to agree that the behavior that his fans have been engaging in is toxic and it's not okay and it shouldn't be condoned. Let the grown-ups hash it out. Let people, deal with it in the court of law where it's going, or, let the studios deal with it. Honestly, I can't believe that you people can't see that your bad behavior makes him look bad and contributes to people not wanting to work with him. You are the ones who are contributing to his continued bad press. And I will never stop speaking out about that. And I know that my friends are doing everything they can to help everybody see this video because of how sick we are of people not talking about mental health, people not talking about, oh, that's something I didn't mention. Okay. That's something I didn't mention that I really wanted to bring up because that is another really freaking important. Not only did Amber's ex-partner, who is a woman, tell everybody that she didn't think that Amber deserved to get in trouble for what happened between the two of them. The relationship, the fact that Amber is a queer woman, okay, she's bisexual. That puts her in a position to be, well, let's just say that I'm going to put some statistics on the abuse that bisexual women experience in relationships with cisgendered heterosexual men. And it's going to be scary because I know that bisexual women in relationships with cisgendered heterosexual men are very likely to be treated the way that Amber was treated by Johnny. And when I realized, I guess I was just slow or whatever, but when I realized her ex-partner, that everybody was talking about, oh, she's her ex-partner, when I realized that it was a woman, it was like, ooh, okay, that changes the conversation about the dynamics between Amber and Johnny a little bit. I had forgotten at some point that Amber is LGBT. Yeah, so that came to my attention, and it's very likely that Amber's previous relationships with women were something that I have to look into, substantiate. But it's so common that I believe that Johnny was jealous, and one of those stupid men who oh, my bisexual girlfriend's gonna cheat on me, and regardless of whether Amber did cheat on him or not, has nothing to do with her bisexuality. So if he was accusing her of cheating because it was because she is bisexual, then that makes him biphobic, and that puts another level on the potential abuse claims that maybe we found an LGBT friendly judge who looked at the situation and said this relationship was dangerous, no libel. Like, yeah. And and then you talk about the evidence that's that was obtained illegally that they're complaining about nobody paying attention to, and it's just like, I guess that's what I want my ending remark to be, is people really need to consider this is going to get out of hand. It's going to get worse before it gets better, and somebody's really going to get hurt. Somebody's going to attempt to take out Amber, because this is incel behavior. This is the same kind of mentality that incited Kyle Rittenhouse to shoot up a protest in Kenosha. Something's going to happen with all of it. Just in the last couple of days since the end of the libel lawsuit, the vitriol and the violence has already been upped, because make no mistake, death threats are violence, harassment online is violence. And it's all just increased tenfold everywhere in the, since that lawsuit ended. And, I implore people, please, please, you guys are full of shit. This whole thing is nonsense, and you know it, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop now. Y'all need to stop before somebody gets hurt, because I know you ain't gonna feel proud about it if some loser gets it in his head to go shoot Amber. I know that you're not gonna feel proud of it if some fan gets hurt or killed just because they disagreed with you. Like, please, just think about that, okay? Think about whether or not you want to be responsible for encouraging that kind of behavior. I don't think anybody does. So just think about that, okay? Thanks for listening to me rant. I don't even remember what I ranted about. I've been pretty dissociated throughout the most of this, so hopefully it makes sense. I hope I didn't rant for 46 minutes for no reason, only to have to, shoot this again. So, thank you. Once again, if you have some kind of bullshit that you want to spew at me, some hate, whatever, send it to me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.